Alright YouTube, hello, thank you for watching. Today I'm going over my 3 piperin extractions to show you what I ended up with. I just don't think any of the results were really good, considering I never did a crystallization in my whole life. I don't know. This was my first batch of 100 grams of black pepper that was done in IPA that had 5 grams after the funnel filter. The color was very, very solid yellow, and it had a very good solid look to it. But unfortunately, I just don't know what the hell happened here. When it went into the funnel filter, it looked quite good, and I had really high hopes for this. And then when I tried to crystallize it is when I ran into problems. This sumbitch would not crystallize for nothing. I did it 3 or 4 times with acetone. I did it one time just to prove that I wasn't insane with ethyl acetate. And then after that, I just went over the edge. So I dumped a whole shit pile of cold acetone into it, swished it up, and dumped all the damn brown out of it. I did that about 3 or 4 times. So unfortunately that took the piperin with it. But you know, honestly, there was hardly any piperin in there even before the 4 or 5 times with acetone. I don't know what the hell this brown stuff is. And that's the most frustrating part of this experiment, because if you don't know what the hell it is, there's no chance that you can ever get rid of it. If there's 250 milligrams of crystals there, if you subtracted the brown out of it, you know, I'd be very, very surprised. It was a 10% solution of potassium hydroxide. It was refrigerated for 3 days, and it looked really good prior to it going to shit. Now this one here was 200 grams of white pepper, which was extracted in ethanol. The last measure on it was 15 grams prior to going into this beaker to crystallize. It's got very nice crystal structures to it, but unfortunately it's brown. I just don't know what to make of it. So I did the same thing here. I got frustrated. I shot a bunch of cold acetone into it, shook it up, and dumped it out really, really quick. Of course, brown came with it, but piperin came with it. So once again, I just don't know. An interesting note, comparing this to the first failure over here, I guess you know, you could probably say when I poured this into the funnel filter, it kind of looked like some shit brown, granular, kind of in appearance, peanut butter. So why do you get something that looks like brown peanut butter on white pepper but not on black pepper? I just don't know. This one here did not have any refrigeration done to it at all. It sat for about 17 hours at room temperature. And this was done in a 15% potassium hydroxide solution. This one here was 200 grams of white pepper, same exact stuff. This was done in isopropyl because I ran out of ethanol. The reason I ran out of ethanol is because when I tried to distill off the ethanol from this, I started getting stuff coming over at like 130 degrees, 140 degrees. The temperature just kind of started going up slowly in a linear fashion. It never really did approach the boiling point of ethanol. And then when I smelled the distillate, 2 different distillates that I had pulled off of it, it had this sweet kind of raunchy smell, which I think most of that was the ethanol and the fact that for some reason my brain doesn't do well with the smell of ethanol. So it had this sweet kind of odor to it. But underneath the sweet odor was attached this odor of like basically a dead body, is really the only way I can describe it. So it was like a mixture of sweet, nauseating kind of dead carcass of some type. Whether or not it had an amine in it, I just don't know. I don't know that I would have said it smelled like fish, the distillate. It was kind of on the ratty edge. So anyway, but that's why I used the isopropyl again on this one. Color, strangely, is much, much nicer, with the exception of this big glump of shit over here that I'll get to in a minute. But I messed up pretty bad on this one, because what I did was I started to precipitate the piperin out of solution with hot water by pipette prior to adding in the potassium hydroxide solution. And of course I got this bunch of really sticky yellow shit all over the sides of the beaker. And there was this big huge clump of separated white in the solution that looked like it could have been fats or lipids, or man, how I just don't even know. It was definitely as white as you could really get. I didn't add that much water into it at that point, so I said, well, hell. So I just went ahead and added a 10% solution of potassium hydroxide to try to recover from it. This one here actually got refrigerated 2 times. I'm not sure how that worked out. Now when this came out into the funnel filter, this here looked like a clump of greasy peanut butter. It had basically the same color as this did, but this looked more granular. This formed a big damn greasy ball that you couldn't take a spatula or a spoon and separate it from itself. Almost like a piece of mercury. It just rolled around in the funnel filter, and if you squished it, it didn't stick to the glass. It just rolled off the glass. It wouldn't even stick to the fritted glass. I mean, once it rolled out of the funnel filter, that funnel filter was so white it looked like you never even used it, because the shit was so oily. And I thought, well, hell, I'm done for on this experiment. But that's what I got. So anyway, this clump of shit here was not like this basically an hour and a half ago. I left this set in the sun for about an hour outside, and then I decided I wasn't going to do the video outside, so I brought this in and I thought, what the hell? What happened to this by setting in the sun? Because originally this crater was not there. This was a big plateau on top, if you get what I'm saying. And in the process of being in the sun, it formed a crater, and all this stuff that was plateau fanned out. You can kind of see that it's all pushing on an outward direction away from the center of the volcano. And on the bottom, it's got like a watermark line here. I'll just call it a watermark line because I don't really know what else to call it. That wasn't there prior to going outside with it. The beaker's very dirty, so it's kind of hard to see, but I mean, it does have some like nice kind of crystal structure to it over in here. Yeah, it's kind of what I thought. It's going to fall out of there again, but yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. Why it turned more brown on the bottom around the edge just setting outside and got the volcano in it, I don't know. Prior to that, when I took it outside and I looked in it, it looked like a big shit pile of mold spores. Was really the only way I could describe it. And of course it isn't mold spores, and it still's got that kind of spore look to it around the outside. Don't really know why that is the way it is. So anyway, that's what I ended up with there. 3 completely different results in varying proportions. I don't know if I should go ahead and try to do a recrystallization on this, because this here didn't have a recrystallization. Whatever formed in here formed the first time. This one here technically didn't have a recrystallization, but I did wash it with acetone to try to get the brown out. And this one here was crystallized so many damn times there's nothing left of it. That's what I come up with. What it means, I don't know. I don't know the method to the madness. But you can bet your behind I will try this again. Maybe more than just once here in the future. And try to figure this out. I think beyond a shadow of a doubt, I will never ever try to use black pepper again. It gives you the illusion that you're going to have something great. And then it says, nope, not going to happen. So the white pepper is definitely in, the black pepper is definitely out. That's the only conclusion I can make in a shit pile of weeks of doing extractions. So hey, I appreciate you watching my videos very much. Take care and have a great day.